Commander Zethkar had ruled the Nexus slave markets for over 3 centuries, his crystalline carapace bearing the scars of 1,000 conquests. The insectoid overlord watched through multifaceted eyes as another shipment of fresh specimens was herded into the processing chambers. Hundreds of species from across the galaxy, the docile Yulani with their flowing tentacles, the sturdy rock-like Gorvani, even a few of the prized telepathic ethereals whose minds fetched premium prices. But today's cargo held something special, something that made Zethkar's mandibles click with anticipation. Humans. The bipedal mammals had only recently been discovered on the Outer Rim, their primitive world catalogued as Terra in the Nexus databases. Initial reports described them as unremarkable. Average strength, limited lifespan, no natural weapons or armor. Perfect slaves for the mining colonies. Dr. Sarah Chen stumbled as the energy whip cracked behind her, forcing the group of captured humans forward. Around her, 43 other survivors from the colony ship New Horizons shuffled in magnetic restraints. They'd been ambushed during what they thought was first contact, a peaceful meeting that had turned into a nightmare of stunners and capture nets. "Keep moving, meat," growled their brack guard, a hulking reptilian whose translation collar rendered his words in crude English. "The processors are hungry today." Sarah bit back her response, focusing instead on the data her enhanced neural implant was silently collecting. As the expedition's xenobiologist, she'd volunteered for the enhanced cognition package before departure. The implant had survived the capture process, hidden beneath layers of organic tissue that appeared normal to the slaver's crude scans. And it was learning, recording, analyzing. The processing facility sprawled before them like a mechanical nightmare. Miles of automated systems designed to catalog, condition, and prepare sentience for sale. Zethkar descended from his observation platform, multiple arms gesturing as he addressed the human prisoners. "Welcome to your new existence," his translator rendered his chittering in perfect English. "You will be processed, conditioned, and sold to the highest bidder. Some of you will serve in the pleasure districts, others in the mining operations of Kepler 442b, where the average lifespan is brief." He paused before Sarah, compound eyes reflecting her face dozens of times. "This one shows intelligence. Perhaps suitable for computational work once properly motivated." Sarah remained motionless, but her implant was working furiously. It had already identified 17 distinct alien species among the guards and processors, cataloged their weapon systems, and begun mapping the facility's layout through careful observation. More importantly, it had detected something the slavers hadn't noticed. The other humans weren't as helpless as they appeared. Military-grade neural enhancement wasn't standard on colony ships, but the New Horizon had been different. It wasn't just carrying settlers. It was carrying Earth's first deep space reconnaissance team, disguised as civilians to avoid alarming potentially hostile species. Every adult human in the group carried some form of enhancement: combat stimulants, tactical networking implants, or accelerated learning matrices. And they were all talking to each other. The slavers' energy-dampening fields blocked obvious forms of electronic communication, but they hadn't accounted for quantum-entangled particles embedded in human neural tissue. Technology so advanced it appeared biological to their scanners. Former Captain Marcus Webb, now appearing as nothing more than a frightened colonist, slowly flexed his fingers in a pattern that activated dormant combat systems. Around him, others began similar subtle movements. Dr. Chen's biological analysis streamed to the group mind. Structural weaknesses in brack physiology, the frequency resonance that would shatter crystalline carapaces, the neural pathways that would overload ethereal telepaths. "Begin processing sequence 7 alpha, Zethkar commanded, turning away from the humans. "Start with the older specimens. They adapt poorly to conditioning." That was the signal Sarah had been waiting for. Her implant sent a single quantum pulse to the network. "Execute." The transformation was instantaneous and terrifying. Humans who had seemed broken and defeated suddenly moved with predatory precision. Webb's enhanced muscles, no longer constrained by the need for disguise, propelled him across the chamber in a single leap. His bare hands struck the nearest brack guard's neck with enough force to shatter vertebrae. Dr. Chen's fingers found the neural cluster behind a crystalline overseer's primary eye. her enhanced knowledge of alien anatomy guiding her strike with surgical precision. The creature's death scream resonated at exactly the frequency needed to disorient its companions. Around the chamber, 44 humans became a perfectly coordinated killing machine. Enhanced reflexes allowed them to dodge energy weapons, while their tactical network turned them into a single organism with multiple bodies. Where individuals might have fallen, the collective anticipated, adapted, and struck with merciless efficiency. Zethkar watched in horror as his guards, veterans of 100 conquests, fell before the humans like wheat before a scythe. "Impossible," he chittered, his translator failing to capture the full terror in his voice. The scans showed nothing. Primitive mammals with crude technology. "You scanned for technology you recognize," Sarah said, stepping over the broken form of a Gorvani enforcer. Blood spattered her clothing, but her voice remained clinically calm. "You found exactly what we wanted you to find." The slaver lord backed against his command console, multiple arms scrambling for weapons that were no longer there. "What are you?" "We're humans," Webb answered, approaching with the fluid grace of an apex predator. "And you made the mistake of thinking that made us weak." "The Nexus will send fleets," Zethkar began. "The Nexus will find ruins," Dr. Chen interrupted. Her implant was already accessing the facility's computer systems, uploading viral code that would spread through their networks like digital cancer. "Every slaver station, every market, every ship. We know where you are now. But first," Webb added, "you're going to help us free everyone you've taken." Zethkar's compound eyes focused on the humans surrounding him, no longer seeing primitive mammals, but something far more dangerous. Something that had allowed itself to be captured not out of weakness but as reconnaissance, something that had spent centuries scattered across a single world, learning to kill each other with ever-increasing efficiency, something that had now turned that talent toward the stars. "Please," the Overlord whispered. "We didn't know." "No," Sarah said quietly. "You didn't, but you do now." The liberation of the Nexus markets took 6 hours. The dismantling of the galactic slave trade took 6 months. The lesson learned by every species in the galaxy would last forever. Humanity wasn't just another species to be conquered. They were the thing that nightmares feared in the dark.